Roy Jones Jr. in the motherfucking house. How we doing, baby?
I'm doing good, brother. Always good.
Hey, it's good to have you on here on the County Line. County Line congregation going to be very excited to see that you came to have a sit down with me.
That's
How you
awesome.
been?
I'm good, but I can't complain.
So you got quite the livestock array. Where did that come from?
Well, as a kid, I had animals all the time, and I like all types of animals. But what people fail to realize is that boxing led me to look for animals that fought. And when I look for animals that fought, it's because whatever I learned in boxing, I could use whatever God gave these animals that fought to help even take my boxing knowledge to another level. So I became obsessed with the game roosters because I realized that they fought, and the good ones, the ones that are bred right, will fight even to the death. And I feel like if you're a fighter, then you should be willing to fight to the death. If you're not willing to die for something, then you shouldn't be alive. And our life is worth dying for. So I became very close with the game roosters, and I've had them around me my whole life because I watched them and I studied them growing up. And so I just keep them because I love them and I understand them,
So you had roosters around the house when you were growing up as a kid?
All the time, yes. Roosters. I had pigs. I had cows. I had horses. I don't do the horses too much. A friend of mine does have a few horses in my yard, but I don't really do horses no more because they're so high maintenance, and I'm gone too much for them. But I try to keep a few chickens here and there, and I eat the eggs, and and I eat some of the young chickens, and it's just good for everything.
Yeah. Which animal that you've studied throughout your life has contributed most to your fighting style?
The game roosters. That's what I told you. That's
Yeah.
why I study them so much, because studying game roosters taught you how to, you watch them grow up, and you watch them when they become somebody, when they start to know that they're somebody, they have a different walk about them. They have a different respect about them. They have a different demanding of respect about them. And when you learn that growing up, it teaches you how you should behave as you're coming up through the ranks and as you're getting to be a force, because I watched them my whole life. So it's like, although I had a daddy that was very tough on me, the game rooster showed me still, and it was God's will of still letting me know that to be the head rooster one day, you got to always carry yourself with a confidence and an aroma about yourself that everybody else feels and respects.
So to this day, you have many chickens, roosters, what have you. If you had to pick another animal that you've looked at throughout your life and studied the way they fight in combat, what would be the second most important animal that you've studied?
One other animal I studied is a shark. And sharks, people don't understand that sharks are very different, but they're smart. And it's like a shark teaches you a beautiful thing about life, because although a shark is more powerful than a seal, a shark doesn't just run in and just grab a seal and take him down. No, he hits that seal and wounds him. Then he gets away from him and lets him bleed out and get weak, because the seal is still capable of stretching his eyes out. He grows teeth back again. He heals with his cuts and all, but he don't get another set of eyeballs. If he loses his eyeball, it's over. So even though he's way more powerful than a seal, he still hit that seal good, then he let him bleed out to get weak before he goes back and eats him. Because if he goes too early, he himself may be damaged for life. And that teaches you the same thing in boxing. A wounded man is a very dangerous man. And I had a friend named Smoke Ganner. He was fighting Kevin Kelly. He had Kevin all banged up, but if he knew anything about the shark, he would have stayed off of Kevin, let the eye wear down a little bit more, then he would have got him. You understand me? Same thing happened in the last Marquez-Pacquiao fight. Pacquiao had Marquez all banged up. All he had to do was stay away from Marquez 2 rounds and keep boxing, let that eye swell up some more, let him bleed out some more. They would have had to stop the fight. But instead, he thought, since I got him hurt, I'm going to jump in here and kill him. If you know what that shark does, you know that's not a smart idea. If God taught that shark, because that shark didn't learn from us, God gave him everything he got. So if God put in that shark, don't attack that wounded seal until he's weak enough that he can't cause you harm, then, don't attack a wounded man until he's weak enough that he can't cause you harm.
So if you're in the ring and you've got an opponent wounded, right? Do you prolong the ultimate knockout attempt to let him get weaker, or do you go in for the kill, such as who you were describing earlier? If he would have known about the shark, he would have allowed it to prolong a little bit more. How do you approach that situation?
I assess the situation. Is he ready for the kill? Is he ready for the eat? Or is he ready for the kill? or do I need to wait a little longer? So in a lot of cases, I get them, then I back off and watch him wait and see can I get him again. If I can get him again, cool. If I can't, then I just wait because he ain't ready yet. You understand? But once I get him ready, I know when he's ready to be eaten, I go in for the kill. But until then, I'm very cautious and very protecting of myself because I know every lick he throws from that point forward, it's gonna be like it's his last lick. So it's gonna have everything on it. So if he hits you at that point, you're gonna be hit harder than normal because he knows life is leaving him. He knows his chances are dwindling away. His only chance is if he can land one shot. So you gotta know that going in.
So when you look at an opponent and you get him wounded, so to speak, or you see that he's ailing in some sense, it sounds like it's a case-by-case basis. It's not always, it's depending upon the prey.
How bad he's hurt.
Yeah.
You understand? If you hit him in the right place and he's wounded for good, you can go and eat him. You can go and take him out of there. But if he's not that wounded, then you gotta be very cautious as to how you approach him, because he still can harm you though he's wounded, and he'll harm you even more because if he's wounded, he think every lick is his last. He got to try to get you out of that lick.
Yeah, a lot of times in life in general, and I'm sure this applies to boxing too, the most dangerous man is the one who has nothing to lose.
Of course. It applies to everything. That's why I studied the animals so much, because they have life nature's way. They fight nature's way. You understand me? So when you study that, man don't teach that. God had to give them that. You understand me? So when you understand that what God gave the animals, then you learn how to use that to the best of your ability and to your advantage.
Doesn't that it's so interesting that when we look at fighting and combat sports, it looks effortless, especially for those such as myself who are not very astute in boxing and the techniques and the styles. But watching some of your highlights and some of your matches leading up to this conversation, what I noticed the most and what stood out the most to me about your fighting is that it appeared to me that many times your next punch was unpredictable.
Of course, and that's because if they can predict you, then they know what you're going to throw. They can prepare for it. The best thing about fighting, the best thing about sports, the best thing about any competition is the element of surprise. If you can surprise a person, then you get them out because they're not ready for it. If you can't surprise them, then they're ready for it. You're not going to do much. But if you can surprise them, that's why teams blitz. They try to catch the team unready for it, then blitz them. If you shock them, the blitz going to work because you catch them not ready for it. Element of surprise. If you can surprise them with something that they're not expecting, you probably can get them out.
Yeah, it seemed very evident that is baked into your style. You hit them with the famous left hook, but then you'd catch them with the right.
They don't know what's coming after.
They don't know what's coming.
They think that's it. So I set them up for that, make them think that's it, but that's not it. That's just a prelude to make you think it's okay to relax now because you survived the hook. No, it's a right hand, it's an overhand right, it's an uppercut, it's another hook, it's a whole lot that comes after that. And that's the one thing I have a hard time teaching my fighters. You can't go in for the kill with what he's expecting. It's always the one that he's not expecting. The one he's not expecting usually comes shortly, either 1, 2, or 3 punches after the one that he expects. Then he'll relax. If you catch him relaxed, you got a better chance to get him out.
If I were going to walk into the gym and say, Roy Jones Jr., I'm here to box. I've never boxed in my life, but I want you to train me. What is building block number one when coaching or teaching the sport of boxing from the ground level?
Building block number one is we assess who and what you are. Looking at you, you're tall, you're rangy, so you're going to be an outside fighter. So we got to find something that fights like a praying mantis, that fights out on the end of his punches. So I'll probably tell you right away, go take a look at a praying mantis online. Praying mantis fight out there because they're longer armed, they're long, skinny animal, but they fight with range. They handle stuff out there before it gets in here, right? So if you study that praying mantis, then you understand a lot about how you're going to have to fight because you're tall. A praying mantis is long, and he fights off his leg, but he fights out in front of him. You got to fight out in front. You can't fight in here because you're not short for that.
Right.
And there are some people that do it, but that's, to me, against the DNA. I don't like to teach against the DNA because the DNA is what God already gave you. Now, sometimes you can surprise people for a little while, but for the long haul, it won't work.
So determine what the physical build is and then play to those strengths.
That's your first thing.
Yeah. And then we come in and we start training, as far as technique goes. I've never boxed a day in my life, right? Where would you start me off?
You start out teaching them a stance, proper stance, the proper way to move your feet, and then you start out with a jab. And learning the stance and the proper way to move your feet, both of those are key because your stance is your balance. Moving your feet is moving your weapons around. If your feet can't move, your weapons can't move. So it's very important you know how to move your feet because your weapons, they can't go by themselves. You got to get them on the job before they can work. And your feet are what get the weapons on the job. Not many people teach that. They just teach them hit the bag, hit the hand mitts. They teach them everything about these. But these are secondary because if those can't get you to the job, what can you do?
Starts with the feet.
It has to. So you think about a tank can shoot all around, right? But the tank got to be able to move to the job where the action is before it does any good to go all around. If it can't get to where the action is, it's not going to do no good to go all around because the action over there. You understand? You can go all around, but if you can't reach the action, it does you no good.
Right.
So that tank got to have tracks that takes it to the action. That's what your feet are. They take these to the action. They bring the guns to the fight.
Where's Bud Crawford's footwork in your mind?
It's pretty up there. I give him about an 8. He got very good footwork. Oh, and the good thing about him is he do a left-handed or right-handed, and that says a lot. He can move his feet around left-handed. He can move his feet around right-handed.
Your stance, though, I was noticing you are primarily left-handed. Is that correct?
Right-handed.
You're right-handed.
Yes.
Okay, so that makes more sense now because I was looking at your stance this morning, and your left foot in the particular fight that I was watching was up for the most part, and you were giving them.
That's the orthodox stance.
Okay, and that's what kind of threw me off because when I'm thinking about my frame of reference is baseball or football, right? A right-handed thrower steps with his left foot.
Exactly. Well, a right-handed puncher puts his left foot in front.
Yes.
Same thing.
Yes. And I saw you giving the left hook.
I had an exceptional left hook because my right hand stayed hurt so much as an amateur. And you use your jab so much more trying to sit right up that my left became stronger. Then I used to have to depend on my left for power because my knuckle was hurt so much on my right. So my left became not just my useful tool, but it became my power tool as well. So now my left hand is probably more dominant than my right.
Wow. So
in the ring.
Necessity, what is it? Necessity is the mother of invention?
Yep.
So you had to play away from, or you had to strengthen what was not your dominant hand.
That's right. It's strengthen my weak hand to become just as powerful as my dominant hand.
At what point in your career did you have to start leaning on that left hand?
When I was about 14 years old. I hurt in sparring once and it stayed hurt from that point till I got about 22, 23, well, maybe 24 years old. Yep. I hit a guy and it got my knuckle. I couldn't go no further than that, and it stayed like that for years. And if I would get hit like that, I had to put it down. I couldn't let you touch it. If you just caught my hand, I hit you with a shot and did me like that, I would have to take 8 count. That's how bad it hurt. Yep, and it stayed like that for years. I won the Olympics like that. I won my first world title like that. I even beat James Toney like that.
In '89, was your knuckle like that?
Yes, of course.
When you went to South Korea?
88, yes.
88?
Of course. Of course.
What happened there?
They paid the judges off. The judges robbed me.
Simple as that.
Simple as that. They had a vendetta against the United States team for something in the 1984 Olympics.
Something you didn't even have nothing to do with.
Which were in Los Angeles. And I still to this day don't know what it exactly was. But their goal was to get us back, and I became the victim. But God knew who to put it on because I was the youngest on the team, but God knew what that would do to me because I was raised up right here in Pensacola, Florida, right? We used to go to a place called Saraland, Alabama. In Saraland, they wore green and white. If that white wasn't red at the end of that fight and he wouldn't look like he was about dead, you lost. I don't care how bad you beat him. If that white wasn't red and he looked like he was almost dead, you lost. So that taught me how to deal with that controversy early. And God knew it's like people don't understand how strong and how mighty and how strong God's words are. God will prepare you for what's to come. Saraland, Alabama prepared me for Soul career. Because in Saraland, if you didn't almost kill him, you lost. I don't care how bad you beat him. If you didn't almost kill him, and he's from Saraland, you lost.
Has your faith in God always been that strong and that devout?
Yep, it just kind of grew on me. I think at about 10 years old. Once I got about 10, I started realizing, and I knew it already, but when I got 10, it came even more to fruition because as a 10-year-old, when I first started boxing, we had a heavyweight named Ox, Roy Clark. Roy Clark could hit the heavy bag and bust it right on the spot. He was that strong of a puncher. Well, one day, some Jehovah's Witnesses came to our house, and my dad let them speak to us all. And to my surprise, Roy Clark, Ox that is, was the only one that didn't believe in God. And I was shocked because I had never heard of a person that didn't believe in God. So they left. We went on that weekend, went to the Sunshine State games. At the Sunshine State games, we were all afraid because it's competition.
Mm-hmm.
We only had 2-3 fights at the time. None of us were really super experienced. We thought Roy Clark, Ox, because he could bust a bag, he had no problems because he can bust a heavy bag with one punch. That's how strong he was. But he didn't believe in God. When we got there, everybody won except who? Ox, the one that didn't believe in God. That showed me that no power on this earth is stronger than the power of God. You understand me? And from that point, that just enhanced my belief because I believed already, but it just enhanced my belief and my knowledge of who God was.
Roy Jones Jr. could live anywhere in the world,
Mm-hmm.
anywhere he wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Why come back to where you were raised?
Because as a kid, several times in my life, people would say, you can't make it in nothing being from Pensacola, Florida. It's too small. I wanted to prove to people that it's not about where you are, it's about what you believe in. If you believe in God first, then believe in yourself, nothing is impossible. And to let that message be known, after every fight, I would always say Pensacola in the house. Why? Because I want y'all to know, I ain't moved. I didn't have to move. When God is with you, who can be against you?
That's right.
And that's what the facts were. So I stayed here to prove that point. But it also kept me grounded as to who I really am. The things I do today, I did when I was a little kid. The roosters, the goats, the sheep, the peacocks, the turkeys. Everything I do now is just a prelude to or further advancement of what I did as a kid, because that's just who I am.
You mentioned your father being tough on you.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like he was very instrumental in getting you involved in boxing. Is that something that he introduced you to, or that you found on your own as a child?
No, he kind of introduced me to it. He was watching Muhammad Ali once, and I found that he was so entertained by Muhammad Ali. And what I saw Muhammad Ali doing was outthinking his guys, making them mad, and he was staying calm-headed, level-headed, and beating them because he was level-headed. And I realized, because I was a big-time agitator as a kid, so I realized that if somebody teach me how to throw my hands, I can do that. Not knowing that my dad was a boxer at the time. So I kept begging my dad to box and begging my dad to box and begging my dad to box. And by the way, I was a hell of a football player as a mini-mite before I started boxing, right? Well, finally, when I got 10, my dad started training me for boxing, me and a few more guys. Lo and behold, I didn't find out until I got 13 that my dad actually used to box. My dad actually had fought Marvin Haggler. I had no clue.
Wow.
Yeah, I had no clue. So, but I don't think he wanted me to know much about his career because he didn't go as far as he wanted to go with it. But I think he learned all the do's and don'ts while he was trying to box. So he made sure he instilled in me all the don'ts. You understand me?
Mm-hmm.
Just that sometimes as a parent, they can become a bit overbearing and you lose grips with the fact that one day this kid that you're teaching is going to be a grown man too. And you're going to have to respect him as a grown man or it's going to be a problem. And I think he never taught himself that. So that's why it became a problem. And to this day, we still don't talk.
Oh, you and your dad don't speak anymore?
Nah, 2 lions. When a lion grows up and get to be grown and leaves the nest, he ain't coming back. If he come back, it's come back to kill or die.
I understand that.
And those are other things that I learned from the animals, because when I was a kid, I used to go squirrel hunt with my dad.
Uh-huh.
And we would kill squirrels sometime. And I killed them to eat them, but we would kill them and someone would have a penis but no balls, no testicles. And I'd be like, why they don't have testicles? And my own dad, who was a genius at a lot of things too, taught me that squirrels have nests, right? One squirrel rules anywhere from 5 to 25 females in the area. Every time a female has babies, he bites the balls out of all the males so that he won't have no competition come up, and none of his kids would grow up and be his competition.
He bites the balls out of his
Bites the balls
offspring.
out of his own breed. So that taught me that, wow, my dad can't physically bite my balls out, but he's basically trying to mentally take them out.
Mm.
And if he mentally takes your balls out, how you gonna be a world champ? It's not gonna happen. So what you taught me, when infused with God's knowledge, taught me what you really was trying to do to me. And it made me understand. So it's like, I give reference to the squirrel at that age, but when I got older, I also had to give reference to the lion. Because when a lion gets old enough to leave, he can't come back. And that's how I felt when I left. Well, I said, I gotta leave. Well, I knew at 13 I was going to leave one day. And I knew once I left, I couldn't come back. And that's what happened.
There's a writer from Mississippi. He's now deceased. He went by the name of Willie Morris. And he had a very, very strong relationship with his father, which I do as well. And he wrote a quote one time. It's a question, basically an open-ended question asking the world, can a boy really be a man while his father's still on earth? What would your response to that be?
He can if his father respects him as an adult male, right? He can, and number two, he can if he assumes responsibility and understands what the definition of a man is and assesses the situation. Because there are some men that know how to allow their son to be men. Like I know how to allow my son to be a man because of what I was raised in.
Right.
You understand me? So you can't be a man while your father's on earth. Yes, but you just got to know when it comes time to cut the cord and decide, okay, that's your area, this my area. You understand me? And if he don't accept that, then you got to become like that lion. You got to leave and get your own area and claim your stake. And don't nobody come on the area and claim they the man but you. And that's what I had to do.
Did you see yourself being an all-time great at, say, age 14?
No, I didn't, but I knew I was going to be a monster. And I also knew that I wasn't going to be able to do it with my dad in my corner.
As a coach?
Yes.
So at what point did y'all part ways?
When I got about 20, I think.
And he was still coaching you at that time?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So when you came into your own as a man, y'all just butted heads and there was not enough...
real estate for both of us.
Correct.
What happened, though, was, people don't understand how deep my story goes. But God would show me things and give me indications early on that let me know that it wasn't going to work, right? So I had a few guys that boxed with me that were a little bit older than me. Every time these guys got up to around 17, 18, then my dad would butt heads and they would leave. My dad had trained, actually, 4 world champions. Vince Phillips left, joined the Army, became world champion. Arthur Williams left, moved to Vegas, became world champion. Roy Jones separated completely, became world champion. Then Roy Jones Jr. took Derek Smoke Gaynor, put him under his wing, and also made him a world champion. But my daddy was the beginning for all of us. So he's a hell of a man when it comes to knowing the sport of boxing and training fighters. It's just that most people don't understand that he's so dominant that when it gets to time for you to be a man, he don't know how to back up and let you be a man because his dominance about him will not allow that. So that's why with the game Rooster, I could understand, because when a game Rooster gets a certain age, once him and his dad is turned like this, and he gets turned on, or that age where he think now he want a woman, he better either kill his dad or be killed by his dad. Same thing. And I had to have that personality and that attitude. If God didn't give me these game Roosters, it would have been really hard for me to understand that.
It would have been hard to compartmentalize and put that into perspective.
Of course.
Does it irk you now that you and your father don't speak?
No, it doesn't irk me because I understand. It's like I just sit there and gave you 3 different scenarios of why we don't speak.
Right.
So quite naturally, I fully understand why we don't. It's a lion and a lion. I'm not going to be no cub no more. I can't go back to being a cub. I'm a lion.
So all of these 4 different world champions, obviously including yourself, were from this area?
Every one of them was. Vince Phillips from Pensacola, Florida. Arthur Williams from Pensacola, Florida. Derek Smoke Gaynor from Pensacola, Florida. Roy Jones Jr. still is in Pensacola, Florida.
So did y'all have similar fighting styles? Obviously, different physiques, different DNA, different makeups. But did your dad's influence as a coach shine through in the performance of those 4 world champions?
Of course, we all had very similar basic beginnings. You could build anything off of our basics. Vince Phillips built a straight right hand off the basics, and that straight right hand took him to victory. Vince Phillips was the first person to beat the one of the best Russian fighters of all time, Costa Tszyu. Yep, he beat Costa Tszyu at 140. He was one of the first people to beat. He was the absolute first person to beat Costa as a pro.
Wow.
Yep.
So it's in the water down here.
It's in the water, but it's also my dad's teaching. He teaches a very good basic background. If you learn the basics from my dad's school of basics, you can add almost anything you want to add on to it. And that's what people don't understand.
That's amazing. Your dad fought Marvin Haggler.
Yep.
I've watched one fight that I have watched, Roy, is Marvin Haggler and I forget who.
Tommy Hearns.
Yes.
I already know. Best 1-round fight of all time.
Man. That is wild.
Yeah.
I wish, I mean, I know greatness can't be remade, but I wish there was more shit like that.
Yeah, that was a real fight. And honestly, we get that quite often. We just don't get it amongst the top names no more. And the reason we don't really get it amongst the top names anymore is because a lot of the top names have become afraid to fight each other, because once you build up, if you lose, they throw you to the pastor. You understand? It's like to Errol Spencer's demise, he got up and got to the top and fought Terrence Crawford, but now a lot of people don't want to see him fight no more because of what happened to him with his car accident and how he looked in the fight. And it's really not fair, because he did good in the 2 fights before that fight. So it's not really safe to say that he shouldn't fight no more. We don't know that yet for a fact. Now, if he went and got his brain checked, a neurological checkup, and it didn't look good, maybe we could say he shouldn't fight anymore. But until he does that, why do we have the right to say he can't fight no more?
Right.
He had a wreck, yeah. He took a lot out. The wreck took a lot out of him, yes. But he came back and beat 2 top-notch fighters after that. So because he lost to the best, and actually pound for pound the best guy fighting today, does that mean he shouldn't fight no more?
Aside from that particular scenario, has TV and pay-per-view, the way all that's structured and the way it's evolving, is that contributing to the top-tier fighters not getting in the ring with one another as often as they used to?
No, it's a lot it has a lot to do with that too, but it's like, I don't want to blame Floyd, because Floyd did it the smart way, which was his way, but when he did that way, it made everybody else try to be smart like him. But only he could do that. Only he could pull that off. Everybody can't pull that off. And everybody think that they can pull off what Floyd pull off. No, you can't. So it's like they try to play it safe and stay undefeated, but that worked for him. That don't work for everybody else.
Right.
He the only person that could pull that off. Nobody else can pull that off like he did. You understand me? Because the public won't accept it. He got a pass, and he took full advantage of that pass. But anybody else, that's not going to work. That's why you don't see nobody out there really command the respect, except people like Tyson Fury, who went ahead and fought Wilder 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Canelo, who went ahead and fought Triple G 2 times, fought Bivol, fought them all. If you ain't fight them all, you don't get that kind of respect anymore. You understand me? Because they understood and they let him go with that, but they're not going to let nobody else go with that.
Do you think Deontay Wilder is as crisp as he could be?
No, not at all. I think Wilder, if he had a little bit more technique and didn't just depend on that right hand, he'd be a real problem. But because he brought up that way and he got so far with just that right hand, it's like, for him, it felt like if it ain't broke, why fix it?
Right.
You understand? But it was broke against Tyson Fury, because Tyson Fury realized the only thing I got to worry about is the right hand. If I get past the right hand, I got him. And that's what happened.
Yeah, Deontay Wilder is one of my favorite boxers to watch of all time, primarily because I was of age when he was boxing and going through his prime. Does he have anything left?
Of course he got something left. The last thing to leave is your power. And he's definitely one of the best power punchers of all time.
Are the feet the first thing to leave?
No, the legs, not the feet, the legs. Yeah, the legs the first thing to leave. Power's the last thing to leave. Yep.
Power in the punch itself.
Yep.
How do you fend off? And you've been through this, obviously. You get on up in your career. And when did you start recognizing your legs leaving?
When I came down from heavyweight back to light heavyweight, I put on 25 pounds of muscle, and I took off 25 pounds of muscle. And when I took the 25 pounds of muscle off, my body was never the same. And I won a fight off pure heart. I beat Tar the first time off pure heart because I had no energy.
Whenever you, forgive my ignorance on preparation and boxing matches, but whenever you set a date and you've got a match set, first of all, how long out do you typically know that? And then what does training look like leading up to that fight?
Most people like to do 6 to 8 weeks of training. If you aren't training at all in between time, you should do 10 weeks. But if you're training already and you kind of active like I used to stay, I could get ready in 6 weeks. Some guys like 8 weeks because they train light. I trained, I played basketball, I did so much that 6 weeks I was ready to go.
You can cut it back on.
Right. So the first 2 weeks of my training camp was getting back in the habit of dieting and eating the right kind of foods and cutting out the junk foods. So the first 2 weeks, I would see my weight drop probably about 8 to 10 pounds just off the fat. You understand me? Then the second 2 weeks, I honed in on getting in shape with sparring, and I ran the whole time, but getting in shape with sparring, getting in fight shape, because I started sparring the first 2 weeks, but the second 2 weeks it started to get really intense and more of what you want to see when you come fight time. The last 2 weeks, you spar the week before the last week, like so week 5, my last week of sparring, and that's just to make sure I'm sharp and on point with all my moves and sparring. And week 6 is all about making weight and holding it on peak. But once again, here's what people don't understand. Roosters go through the same process. When you prepare a rooster for a match, he go through the same process as a boxer do. It's just that his is a 3-week process. Mine was a 6-week process. But I learned so much from preparing the roosters, because you watch a rooster come from just a normal rooster to a sharp killer in a matter of 3 weeks. And you learn how important things like rest, moisture, timing, speed, you just learn a lot of different things and how important it is to be able to bring that guy to a peak so that he peaks right at the time of that fight. You don't want him to peak the day before, and he definitely better not peak the day after. You want to peak right at that time. And I learned so much from teaching the roosters how to do that I would use those same tactics on myself. So in that 6-week period, you got to come up. And week 6, you want to get right there, week 6, for that fight day. Fight day, you want to be right there. If you're here, you're not going to win, or you're going to struggle. If you're over here, it's going to be even harder. But if you can get right there, week 6, you got yourself something.
I would imagine at the peak of your career, you had that dialed in pretty well.
Of course.
I mean, you could probably do it in your sleep, do it like clockwork.
In my sleep, because I knew what to do.
Right.
I knew how to rest. I knew when to rest. I knew everything, because I learned it from working with my animals.
Wow. So fighting the Roosters, their prep time is half of yours. Did you learn anything from the intensity in which they prepare and fight with? Their mentality?
Yes, the ones that were back in, and like I said, it's illegal now, so I don't do it now, but back when it was legal, the ones that were super intense all the time were the ones that performed the best. Now, sometimes you get one that will be a little laid back. He'd be a little laid back, but come the daytime, when it's time for the action to be, he show up. You have a few like that, but people are like that too. Then sometimes you have some that never seem like they got right, but on that night, they were a whole different animal. So, and you got people like that too. So it's like, that taught me not to expect all my boxers to look the same through that peaking process. Some may look like they were beaters, but they may not be. Some may look like they can't beat themselves, but they're trying to be the best of all. So you got to be able to know that different personalities are going to bring about different things. Just because he don't look right in here, don't matter. You just bring him on point like you're supposed to and see what happens on fight night.
Got to see when them lights come on, how they react.
That's the biggest thing.
Do you watch college football?
Yes.
Who's your team?
I don't have a team. I just usually support local guys. If I see local guys, like when Emmett was at Florida, I supported Florida. When Brooks was at Florida State, I supported Florida State. When Trent Richardson was at Alabama, I supported Alabama. My daughter goes to Alabama right now, so I kind of watch Alabama,
Roll Tide.
and I like Nick Saban.
I like Nick Saban too.
Yep.
I also like Deion Sanders, what
I
he's
love
doing
Deion
out there
Sanders. Love
at
what
Colorado.
he's doing because he's showing that it's not about who you are, where you at. It's about the opportunity. You get the opportunity, you can do anything anybody else can do. But without the opportunity, no, you can't. You know, his son never would have got that opportunity had he not got that job. But look what his sons are doing now, both of them. They're showing you that they are top. They come from top-notch pedigree. Look at their dad.
They belong.
You feel me? Their daddy has played for some of the best coaches in college football and NFL football. How can he not know? They got the DNA. They got it from him. And he got the knowledge because he's learned over the years. Look what he's done. He's played for all kind of coaches. He's a Hall of Famer himself. How can he not teach it?
I think what he's doing and mixing his flamboyance and swagger and style with discipline and accountability and gamesmanship, he's giving those kids a very, very, very ripe environment for growth, fun, learning, potential fulfillment, and then not to mention all the stars he's bringing to the game.
He promoting self-confidence,
Yes.
discipline,
Yes.
hard work ethic, and what you can be if you just believe in God and believe in yourself.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
I do think Deion is rubbing some people the wrong way, and I really don't understand why, because Deion, if one listens to Deion, just listen to a press conference. Look past Deion's flashy smile. Look past his drip, because he's going to have all the style, right? And focus on the content of the words coming out of his mouth. And it's not going to be a whole lot different than what Nick Saban preaches. It's just delivered in a different way.
This is what you're going to feel. This is what you fail to realize that you're going to realize one day. No matter what you do, somebody going to hate it. Somebody going to watch this interview that me and you doing right now and have something negative to say about it. You can't worry about those. You worry about the ones that got the positive messages out of what we're doing. You worry about the ones that get the positive messages and see the light behind what Deion is doing. You can't worry about the negative. It's going to be negative in everything. If you're a Christian, you believe in Jesus Christ. Well, Jesus Christ will tell you that if they did what they did to him and he was perfect, imagine what they're going to do to us. You understand where I'm coming from?
I do.
If you're Muslim, you understand the same thing. Your goal is to serve God. You're not trying to be God because you're not perfect. But if you pray every day, ask for repentance, that makes you perfect in God's eyes. You understand me? So we aren't here to be perfect. And believe you me, even if we think we are or if we try to be, somebody's going to find something wrong with us. It's human nature. You understand me? And misery loves company. So there are people that are miserable that look around and try to find who else they can pick at or talk about or try to make miserable. You understand me? If you listen to them, you will become miserable too. But if you're smart, you look at them and laugh because I'm sorry that you're not having a good day. Or I'm sorry that your life is not going the way it is. You want it to go. But mine is, so I'm happy. So I can't be mad at you. And I understand your anger, but it is what it is.
Do you attribute your recognition of that to your Christian faith?
To all my faith in God first. I have Christian faith, but I do understand what the Muslims believe in too. So I understand it all. It's just like for me, we know we got one God and everything else that was sent here, he sent. And they say Jesus was Emmanuel, God among us, but that could be true. They say Jesus was the Son of God. That could be true. The prophets, the Muslims sometimes would say he was a prophet. That could be true. Fact of the matter is, he's coming back to get us. If you don't believe in that, I don't care what religion you are. In my opinion, you're wrong.
The Muslim faith it gets a bad rap, much because of the terrorism that's taken place in our country throughout the past 20, 25 years and even longer, some say. But it does get missed that there are very devout and very peaceful Muslims by far in the majority, as opposed to the terrorists that also represent that faith.
What they don't realize is that terrorists can come in any kind of shape or form or religion. You understand me? It's just that the Muslim beliefs are a little bit different, and in some cases stronger than most, because what people don't understand is that the Muslims see the same God that we see. They pray to the same God that we pray to. They just don't think that Jesus was the Son of God. They think Jesus was a prophet. It don't matter because they still believe that Jesus is coming back for us. Jesus is going to come back and redeem our lives.
Oh, I didn't recognize that.
They do believe that. Nobody recognizes because they don't talk to him. But I talk to them enough to understand that they also believe that Jesus is coming back to redeem them. They just see Jesus. The only difference to me in the Muslim and the Christians is that the Christians think Jesus was the Son of God, which could be true. The Muslims think he was a prophet. But they all agree that he's coming back to redeem us.
I see.
And if that's the case, like I said, the only problem I have is if we know for a fact that Jesus is coming back to get us, then if he's a prophet, why isn't he the strongest prophet? That's the only thing I say, because if he the one coming back for us, he got to be the best prophet of all. If he, like the Christians think, he's the Son of God. Well, all of us pretty much think that we're the sons of God. So you understand me? So but you can't get caught up into all that, because no matter what it was, if he was the Son of God, God sent him. If he was a prophet, God sent him. So no matter what happens, God sent him. And he gonna send him back. Mm-hmm. If you understand and believe those two things, to me it don't matter.
Right. And so long as it leads one to treat others with respect and dignity and compassion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't care if somebody believes in this microphone right here,
mm-hmm.
but if it allows them and incentivizes them to be the best version of themselves and treat people as they would want to be treated, then it's all good in the hood.
That's what I'm trying to say. Only thing we have a problem with, some people, when you give them power, they try to take what they want or what they believe in and force it on you. That's the only thing I have a problem with. Don't force it on me.
Mm-hmm.
But you can do what you want to do. I don't care, because I didn't make you. God did.
Yeah.
You got to answer him, not me. But don't force what you think is right on me, because that's not fair. What if I don't think that's right? Now you're bullying me, and that's not fair either. But if that's what you think, I'm cool with that. You can think what you want to think. I'm fine. You can be whatever religion you want to be. I'm fine with that. Last but not least, though, this is what people also don't realize about Muslims. The Quran and the Old Testament are almost identical, except that the Quran has never been changed. The Bible has been rewritten maybe 600 times.
Really?
Anytime you rewrite something, you get a different version of it almost.
No doubt.
The Quran has never been rewritten. So what's the real deal? They call it the oldest, truest religion because the Quran has never been rewritten. The Bible has been rewritten at least 600 times. How much is put in and how much is left out? There are also books of the Bible that have been left out on purpose that we know. We don't know what they are, we don't know what they're, but we know that some books of the Bible have been left out on purpose.
That piques my interest and makes me wonder.
It makes all of us wonder if you got any sense.
Yeah.
You understand me? It should make everybody wonder, because if they're willing to leave parts out of the Bible, and if me and you write a paragraph, if I write it, you write it, then he write it, by the time that person read them 3 paragraphs, they're gonna look at all 3 of our paragraphs different ways. So if they had to go write it, they're gonna go write it the way they see it. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yes, sir.
And if you rewrite it 600 times, how can it be its original context? It can't be, because it's been rewritten 600 times. So would you really believe in something that's been rewritten 600 times, or would you rather believe in something that's only been written once? It's a hard choice. It was not really a hard choice. But for me, I still stay in the middle, because I feel like God is only going to allow so much to happen. And he going to guide us and show us right from wrong. And he going to give it to us in our hearts every day. And the fact that the Muslims pray 5 times a day, I like that too, because that means that every day, no matter whether they go to church or not, they still praying to God 5 times a day. You understand me? So if you stay that close to God, he got to communicate with you. And if you have a relationship with God, you know. It's like just 2 weeks ago, I went to Marrakech in Morocco. I'm not Morocco. Yeah, Morocco, right? Something was telling me not to get on a plane and go. When I got there, I told the people that got me there, I said, listen, I'm here for y'all, but I'm telling y'all this is the last time I'm going to do this, because God was telling me not to come on this trip. They said, what you mean? I said, I just got too much that was happening, too much was going on. Anytime that happens, to me, that's an indication that God don't want me to come here. The day I left, earthquake came and killed over 2,000 people right there in Morocco, where I was. That's not God talking to you? You understand me? Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
That's how real it is. That's how much I believe in what God puts on me. So if you don't have that kind of faith, then something wrong.
So you were in Morocco when the earthquake occurred?
I left the day that it occurred. I was in flight coming back here. When I went to Paris, and from Paris to LA. When I was between Paris and LA, I got a text on my phone that Morocco had just had a massive earthquake that had killed I think they said over 300 people at first. Then it went up to 1,000. Then it went up to 2,000. Now I think it might be at 2,800, I'm not sure. But this happened the day that I left. But now I told the people when I got there that I wasn't supposed to be there because God was showing me signs that I shouldn't come. Now I saw exactly what he was trying to keep me from. You understand me? That's deep. That's deep. When you tell somebody, when you get there, that God said don't come, say, but I want to come to show you all this time that I'm for real what I say, but I'll never do this again because, in my opinion, he told me not to come.
Mm-hmm.
Soon as I leave, an earthquake hit.
He reinforced what he had already been telling you.
You understand me? You got to know.
Why take the interview with the county line and this young man from the middle of rural Mississippi who you don't know?
Well, you never know in what forms that God will speak to you or speak to people. You never know where God's message might come from. You never know who God may have a message for. It may be somebody in your audience that God wants to hear this message. Maybe he wants to hear this message. You might tell me something or ask me something that I need to hear. Who knows? So when you have friends, and I have a lot of friends all over the world, and you are really a true friend of a friend, and one of your friends out of the blue tells you, hey, I got a guy that wants to do an hour interview with you. He's a good guy, good friend of mine, would really mean a lot to him. If I have time and him being my friend, why would I not do that?
Prior to coming here, I was told Roy Jones Jr. ain't got no ego. He ain't got no ego. And that has been proven to be correct based off of what you've told me in the past 46 minutes. I definitely speak for myself and the County Line congregation, the audience listening to this. It's very commendable. A person of your stature and all of the accomplishments and accolades that you've got, it's, I would say, probably very rare to have someone so down to earth that has been up so high. Mm-hmm. What do you attribute having no ego?
My faith in God. Just like God giveth, God will take it away. Mm-hmm. So if you get too big for your own self, mm-hmm. bad things are going to happen. Even if bad things don't happen, though, you may miss God's word. You understand? That's why I don't drink or smoke, because if you're high, inebriated, whatever, how can you hear what God tells you? You understand me? So I feel like in my right mind, if God brings me a message, I can catch it. In my wrong mind, I can't. You feel me? So I try to stay in my own mind, because if he tells me something, or if he showed me something, or if he wants me to see something, I want to be able to see it. You feel me?
Right.
I mean, if Noah was drunk, would Noah have known to build the ark? If Noah was high, would Noah have known to build that ark? He might have thought he was hallucinating. Who knows? But because Noah wasn't, he built that ark. And look what happened with that ark.
How do you check yourself? How do you check your ego? Because you have to, through as much success as you've had, mm-hmm. there has to have been a point in your career where maybe you didn't even recognize it, but you started to get the big head. Have you ever felt that? And if so, how did you check it?
I never thought I ever had the big head, because I know that every day is a blessing from God. Every second is a blessing from God. Every blessing in life is a blessing from God. He didn't have to give me none of that. He didn't have to allow me to become world champ. He didn't have to allow me to make the Olympic team. He didn't have to allow me to become heavyweight champ of the world. He didn't have to allow me to be nothing. I'm everything because he allowed me to be.
Facts.
You understand me? Now, if I can't thank him every day and talk to him on a daily basis and ask him, am I doing the right things, and try to look for his guidance, then my head probably getting too big. If you forget about who God is, your head probably getting too big. But as long as you remember who God is, that should keep you in line, because you know that you ain't doing this. Not you doing this. He doing this. You're just an instrument. He playing this music through you. Be happy, be grateful that he using you as his instrument.
So what's his ultimate mission for Roy Jones Jr.?
Who knows? I have no clue what the ultimate is because he always doing something else through me to surprise me. So I never know. Like I never thought I would have a rap song that got over 200 million views. I got a rap song that got over 200 million views on it. Roy Jones, the boxer?
I Smoke, I Drink?
No, can't be touched.
Can't be touched.
Can you believe it? How? Whoever had a song, whoever thought Roy Jones Jr. would have a song that hot? As I Smoke, I Drink. Everybody knew that song. You understand me? I mean, it's just like, it's so amazing. I was in the Matrix. Roy Jones Jr., the boxer in the Matrix? Man, so much happens that is just unbelievable. I went to the Olympics at 156 pounds. I became the heavyweight champion of the world. That ain't never happened before. Never. My first national tournament, I won as a bantamweight, 119 at 15 years old. I ain't never thought I would be nothing close to a heavyweight. A lot of guys that fight heavyweights are light heavyweights or heavyweights when they 15 and 16-year-old. I seen a guy a few weeks back up in New York. He was 16 years old. He already 300 pounds and can fight. He's destined to be heavyweight champion of the world one day. But he already heavyweight. he over 300 pounds at 16.
And he can't go to lightweight.
You feel me? I never thought I'd be no heavyweight. I was my first national tournament. Bantamweight, 119.
What's heavyweight, over 200?
Yes, 200 plus. Yes. I never thought I'd see those days. Not no boxing ring. That's how great God is. If you just believe, he'll take you to places you don't know you can go to. So if I sit and tell you what my overall destiny is, I don't know. Who knows what he might do through me? I don't know, but I just hope he keeps using me and keep playing his music through me because I love it. And I'm glad that he chose me to do it through. So I'm just a happy camper. If you ever get too arrogant and too hard-headed, he's going to take that away. He'll stop using you. And I know that. So why would I get arrogant or big-headed when I know that, that ain't what he put you here for.
Very wise. Very wise. How did you mentioned the rap song?
Mm-hmm.
And you've got body head bangers.
Body head.
In this bitch. You're very tied. You're tied closely, primarily because of that album, to New Orleans rap.
Mm-hmm.
Did that happen spontaneously, or was that? Did you know those guys prior to hopping on that album?
Another blessing from
Creating
God. Another blessing from God. So I had an artist named Hodge the Ripper. Hodge the Ripper from New Jersey. To me, Hodge the Ripper was the coldest lyricist of all the artists I had, right? But his beats were a little different, and we could never get together, and I guess we never could make the balance match. You understand me? Because he liked what he liked, I like what I like, and it just was always a little different.
You like that down south shit, I assume.
I like the down south beats.
Me too.
You understand? If you put the down south beats with his up north lyrics, you gonna have a killer.
That's like Lil Wayne.
Exactly. But we could never come together on that, right? So then I got an artist from New Orleans, Mr. Magic, came to me. And he was like, look, I got this song that I think could be a hit. So he let me hear it. I said, man, we remix that song. That's gonna be the hottest song of the summer. That was I Smoke, I Drink. But before that, though, we had a few songs that we were doing pretty good. Then Haas, I wrote down a lot of stuff about my career, and Haas helped me make that Y'all Must Have Forgot. That was a big song. You understand me? So Haas did his thing, but it's just like I said, with beats, he was like most musical guys are so genius that they don't relate to the public well. You understand me? Mm-hmm. So it's like some do, some don't. Some think so deep into it that you can't reach where their minds can go.
Right.
And most artists are like that. It's just a matter of who can get the combination to right and who can't. Because I promise you, I don't think no rapper word for word writing down lyrics can do any better than what Haas can. But Mr. Magic was a different type of artist. He's an artist that can make something that the streets wants to hear. He didn't want to care what the I Smoke, I Drink. He can make what the club want to hear. He can make it for the down south club, and he understood and recognized the beats. So the song that did the most for us, which was Can't Be Touched, he helped come up with the hook. Mr. Magic did, right? Mm-hmm. But I picked the beat. Understand me? So, and that's why I think when this with Haas, I don't think he trusted me enough to pick the beats because he's from up north. He always chose different type of beats, but those beats won't get it down here. And really, beats are worldwide because for that song to go and have over 200 million views. Not only did it work here, the world had to like it.
That's right.
You understand me? So I have a reputation for picking beats. You understand? So I just think the New Orleans rappers understand and respect my reputation for picking beats, and that's why it worked. So me and Mr. Magic had a hell of a career together. May he rest in peace, he died. And he and his wife both died in a car crash, and it was very tragic for me. We was actually in the midst of making another album right then, you know. So lo and behold, after that, I had another guy come along, SMBULLETT, from New Orleans. SMBULLETT now is on most of the tracks with me here, and he's another one who he's lyrically inclined, but he trusts my choice of beats. And because he trusts my choice of beats, I think we get to go a little bit further because I have a track record for now picking hot beats. So when we get the knowledge and the gift that they got put with the gift that I have, which is my knowledge of beats and the fact that I like inspiring music, it works for us. So that we got a Y'all Must Have Forgot Part 2, that's hot. We got Do It Big, that's hot. But now we got Never Turn My Back, that's hot. You understand me? And we got a few more in the tank that are hot.
So you've got a label.
Oh yeah, By the Head Still in the Building, that's my label.
And you've got SMBULLETT on that label?
Yep.
Is he the only one at
He's
this
the
time?
only one right now, yeah.
What's in the future for Body Head Bangers?
We working on completing the album right now. My favorite song on the album is called Dark Side. Dark Side haven't come out yet, but to me, Dark Side is my kind of rap music. You understand me? And I only know how to put out what I would listen to, because I'm not the kind of guy that want to talk about smoking and I mean, even I smoke, I drink. My verse that had nothing to do with smoking. They said, we ain't got to smoke or drink, you know? You understand me? So I don't promote violence. I don't promote killing. I don't promote all the craziness. I just kind of, you got to throw a little bit in there because it's rap music, but I really promote what I do. I want to produce music that make you want to get up and go do something.
Right.
If it ain't that, I really don't want to deal with it. So I look for beats that make you want to get up and go do something. It's so bad that I'm not really an artist like that, but it's like for me to write to a beat, it's got to make me feel like I'm about to go fight somebody. If I don't feel like that, I ain't going to be able to write to it. But when I got that feeling, now I can write to it. Now it'll come to me what I want to say or things I want to get out there, because when that beat make me go, now I can do something. If it ain't that, I ain't going to do it.
So the beat comes first and then the lyrics.
For me.
That's the way I work too.
Yeah.
That's the way I work too. Is I'll have somebody send me. I've got a homeboy of mine, and I'll have him run down beats because I don't like picking my beats. I like to hear the beat spontaneously, just like it was supposed to come to me, and it wasn't sought out by me. And then if it makes me feel, if it strikes a chord,
it moves you.
Right.
Yeah.
Then I'll go.
Right.
Then I'll go.
That's that's the only way I can write. If it moves me, I can write to it. If not, and sometimes I come with concepts and I tell Bullet what the concept is and what I'm thinking of how we should do it. And if it ain't the right kind of beat, he can do it because he can write to anything. Because he's talented, he's a musician, that's what he does. I'm a boxer. I ain't gonna write to anything. But if it get me going, I write to it.
What did you listen to coming up? What inspired you early on, hip hop wise, or just music in general?
Well, to be honest with you, man, the first thing that inspired me was UTFO. Oh, you probably not familiar with UTFO. Then Run DMC. Run DMC, Curtis Blow, The Breaks, Sugar Hill Gang. Those guys all inspired me as a kid. So as I got older, I started listening. I learned about Scarface. When Scarface would rap, Scarface would always rap about things that I was going through about that time. So he kind of was in my age, in my gap, that was saying things that I believed in or I could relate to because I was going through it at the same time. So he became my voice of reason that I could put his music on and I could feel like I'm talking about my own life. You understand me? And that made him become my favorite. You know, and to me, the way he puts his words together, the way he puts the lyrics together, the way he says things is very unique and different than most people say it.
He is underrated, in my opinion.
By far. But now let me give you one more thing. He is also one of those artists that, now he picks good beats a lot of time too, and his beats, because he always says so much, and I'm the kind of person that loves what he says. So I listen to what he says before the beat, but I felt like if I was picking his beats, he would be on the same level some of these other artists are, because his beats are like hard. They so deep into their beats that normal ears don't catch those beats. You understand me?
I do.
But you got to sell to the normal ear to sell a lot of records.
Right.
So I feel like if I was picking his beats, be out of this world because he says stuff that is so. I mean, he says so many cold lines that just he'll always be my favorite. He'll always be my favorite.
He's one of my favorite, which he was a little before my time, but that doesn't mean that I can't recognize the greatness. He's definitely the. I don't even know if Lil Wayne could be considered Southern anymore as much as he is global.
No.
But Scarface is top 2 or 3 Southern rappers of all time.
To me, he's number one Southern rap, but to me, number one all of it because his music inspires me to go do what I do. You understand me? Because the way he says it, what he says, the way he lyrically puts things in order, I mean, it does it for me. He always gonna get my vote.
Rap-A-Lot Records.
Love Rap-A-Lot Records. Yep.
Is that where Scarface got his?
Yep. Jay Prince.
Jay Prince. You talk about a businessman.
Yep. He does a little bit of everything. Now he in boxing. Got boxers like Shakur Stevenson. He's doing his thing. That Big Baby. He doing his thing. He had Andre Ward. I mean, he came in, took over boxing.
Yeah, I heard Jay Prince. I also listened to you on Joe Rogan.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that Joe Rogan got Jay Prince to come on.
Of course.
That was when he first moved to Texas, and it was a little out of Rogan's lane, you know. But Jay Prince, like you mentioned, is involved in boxing. But I mean, I listened to Jay Prince's audio book probably 4 or 5 years ago, and incredible life, and the odds that he overcame is incredible.
Incredible human being. Yep.
I mean, when you look at him starting out as a automobile dealer in Houston, and then working his way up and having his hand in so many different
different things.
It's even been rumored that, and it may be true, that he discovered Drake. I don't know how true that is.
I think that is true. I'm not sure, but I think it is. I knew he had something to do with it because the first I ever heard of Drake was through him.
Drake's a cold motherfucker.
You better believe it now. You better believe it. You better believe it. There's a lot of good rappers out there now.
Oh man, I mean, it's the game has been elevated.
Only thing is nowadays it's harder to get the substance rap that we used to have because so much going on. But I guess it is their substance, what's going on in their time now, just not what we used to. So our substance was different from their substance, and that's where we have to make the change at. But it's really still some good rappers out there.
Well, I think where the substance is still there, and I'll speak to Big Crit out of Mississippi, Boosie. He's still giving hard lines. You know, he's still rapping.
Of course.
He's not just about the hook. He's not just about getting the plays. He's still rapping.
Yeah.
And so I look to those guys, but just the environment's changed with social media.
That's what I said. That's what I said. Now is the substance is different from what our substance was.
Right.
But that's their substance today.
Roy Jones Jr., I appreciate you taking the time out of your day and inviting us here to your home to do this recording. And I look forward to doing it again.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Sometime in the future.
Shout out to Jack Pickering for looking out for us.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Jack.
Jack Pickering, we need to get him on. I had his dad Chip on.
Oh, nice.
Roy Jones Jr., anything you want to say before we sign off?
Just want to say God bless you all. Hope y'all enjoyed the interview. Keep God first in all that you do and have compassion for others. Peace. Body hit.
Body hit bangers.